Hello, greetings, and welcome back to the BFC, where we go into the trenches of the trading world. Do me a favor, smash that like button. Seriously, just do it. Just do it. Week after week, we will continue to bring live first-hand DD as well as special guests. Make sure you hang around until the end of this interview because I'm going to be giving my thoughts on some stocks that we're looking forward to this coming weeks. You know, ILS, IGPK, FLES. Yeah, I got a lot of those on the brain, so we're going to see what happens. But before we get into it with the guest, how the hell are you guys doing today? How is your Sunday going? Tell me about what you are excited about this week. Tell me in the comment section. Tell me in the chat. So this is exciting. I mean, there's a couple stocks out there that, they're like pressure cookers. Some that have already been running that, could see crazy highs. So we're going to get into that a little bit later. Remember, this live is for you guys. All right. Make sure you put your questions and comments in the chat. That's why we're here, to do live firsthand due diligence. All right. Let's get into it with our guest. Back for her second round on the BFC is LSEB Creative Corp CEO Lauren Bentley. Let's bring her in. Lauren, welcome back to the fireside. How you doing?
Hello, I'm doing amazingly. Thank you so much for having me again.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so I just want to get right into this because, you have a lot to share with us today. You recently had news that you opened your first wholesale account with Four Seasons in Toronto. Tell us about these goods and where specifically they're going to be sold.
Absolutely. Okay, love it. Starting strong with the exciting stuff. Yes, we're so thrilled about this partnership. We've opened our first account with the Toronto Four Seasons location. Specifically, we are selling to their spa boutique. And I think I mentioned last time I was on the show that we were actually going to be starting outreach to hotel spa boutiques. I don't think that I specified who I was interested in at that time, but it's just been a few short months and we've already opened our first account. Four Seasons has been the luxury hotel that I've been wanting to partner with, who is kind of, the highest standard for me. And it's very exciting. Toronto location is close to home for me, and it will be amazing to see the product on the floor once it goes in. It is in the spa boutique, and that's the perfect positioning for our product, with it being swimwear, and also because specifically in their location, customers, whether they're using the pool or just going to use the spa facilities, will be passing by our goods as they enter and as they exit. So we have really good visibility there, and we're thrilled about it.
Now, are your products there right now, or will they be? What's the timeline that they're actually going to be delivered there?
So they were delivered last week. Of course, there's a receiving and merchandising timeline involved. I was told that they expected to have it out on the floor end of last week or beginning of this week. So I have not heard that, yes, they are on the floor. Come look at it, Lauren. So I assume that will probably be within the next couple of days.
Could you just tell me how you think? I mean, there's a lot of work. These smaller companies, these startups, these OTC companies, and I talk to a lot of people, that are doing these businesses from the ground up. What do you think your emotion is going to be when you actually go in and actually see your product on the floor?
Well, I don't know. You know what? For me, I'm always hungry for more. So as I'm so excited about this, and I'm sure that I will feel pride for myself and, the team and everyone who's been involved thus far. I was even able to tell our factory last week, look, we're partnering with the Four Seasons, and obviously they know the quality of the goods themselves, since they were the ones who actually constructed them, and just to see their pride and excitement around it was really, really cool. So yeah, just to be able to share that moment with everyone. I know that, I'm not the only one who's very excited about it. I know that it's partnering with the Four Seasons. I mean, they're a huge name. They are the epitome of luxury. And I think that, it's big.
good. I could tell by your smile. You're jazzed up.
Yeah.
And it's good to know that you're ambitious and you're hungry for more.
Mhm.
That's important. And so you don't stop. You just keep going. And
Yeah.
congratulations.
Thank
Congratulations.
you.
That's
And it's
awesome.
just one location of hopefully many more. So,
Well, actually, I'm going to ask you. I go, are you planning on landing more contracts with additional hotels, either other Four Seasons or even other different chains?
mhm. So it's such an interesting approach to wholesale with the luxury spa boutiques because and just in case nobody or people don't, know this, how it works is actually each individual location does their own buying.
Mm,
So really in this situation, Four Seasons alone has around 130 locations
mm,
worldwide. Not every single location has a spa boutique. Not every single location even has a boutique in general. Some of them, they all have the things that make them them. But at the end of the day, what I'm trying to get across is that there's huge possibility just within Four Seasons. That's, call it 100 locations that we get to do outreach to. And there's also an immense amount of work that goes into that because it's building relationships and having that communication with every singular location. So we are very focused on that right now, continuing to do outreach. We would love to be in as many Four Seasons locations as we possibly can be. And then once we look at those options within that brand, we can, there's so many beautiful luxury hotels in the world. There's some incredible other companies out there too, and we can continue to see what that looks like.
Crazy. Man, the journey is just beginning. Guys, put your comments, put your questions in the chat. I'm going to get to those in a minute. And you mentioned outreach,
Mhm.
not only to just department stores, but are
Mhm.
you planning on tackling the e-commerce sector as well?
Yes. So we are. So essentially, we have actually started outreach to department stores and multi-channel online retailers as well. So that would be your, what did you just call them? E-commerce.
E-commerce.
Yeah. So there are those e-commerce department stores such as My Teresa, as Essence. There's many big fashion ones out there. So department stores and those larger multi-brand e-commerce retailers. So in the wholesale industry, we would call those majors. So for majors, it is a little bit different. They typically do pre-season buying. So currently with our situation, having goods on hand and being a startup, we are looking to do in-season selling, which for these majors, it really requires them to have in-season budget as well as a high turnover rate within the categories, so within swimwear. So really with our outreach right now, we would love to do in-season selling as it's possible, but really it's about nurturing the relationships for future partnerships. And as we continue on to develop new collections, we will start developing them with ample time to be able to do this pre-season selling that the majors are used to doing. So yeah, we're doing everything that we can in that area, or we did just start outreach in that area, but we will be doing everything that we can. And again, I can never reiterate this enough. It's so important that we really just try to partner with people who are the correct positioning for us. So they share our standards, they share our price point, they share the audience that we want to be able to sell to. All of those things are very, very important. So just keeping that all top of mind as we're selecting the people that we reach out to.
Yeah, and building that solid network,
Mhm.
that foundation is so important.
It really is.
And hopefully, in the months and years to come, you guys have a solid team you could deploy to target various industries. You could have an e-commerce
Mhm.
recruitment. You could have department stores. You could have hotels. I
Mhm.
think that's good. That's great. I mean,
Yeah,
so
if anyone in the chat has some great connections in the retail industry, let me know.
that's it. See, you
Trevor
got to
recruiting
give it a plug. Speaking of the chat, let's get to a couple questions from the chat.
Let's see, I'm bad at multitasking, so I haven't been watching.
That's okay. Lauren, a lot of us think you are a superstar. Can you tell all the listeners your amazing background?
Okay, so
And I know how much you love talking about yourself. So this was a backstage joke, guys. By the way,
we were just chatting backstage about, I don't get so anxious about talking about the business or anything. That's the exciting part for me. When it comes to myself, I'm really quite terrible at it. So my background, so I did go to college to study fashion business management. In that program, it was extremely hands-on. It really dissected exactly what the program was called, which is the business side of fashion. So it wasn't necessarily the design. There was very minimal aspect of that. It was more so, how does the industry actually function? How do brands work, and how does wholesaling work, and how does retail work, and how do they all work together as well? All of the intricacies of making buys and merchandising plans and all of these things. So what was very cool about my program, though, is that we had industry experience while going through the course. So there were times where we actually had real clients. One of my clients going through one of my projects in school was actually Walmart. So we were able to have conversations with some of the department heads in Walmart, and to have that type of experience while you're going through school and haven't necessarily entered the workforce yet is quite amazing. And I was able to build great relationships throughout school rather than just kind of having to wait until starting working out of school. That being said, I also have worked my whole life, worked before school, worked 3 jobs during school, and was lucky enough to work with some amazing companies. And most of I think I've mentioned this before, but my background is mainly in wholesale. So working with some incredible wholesale companies here in Toronto, and really getting my footing in multiple different industries as well. I've worked with men's high-end workwear. I've worked in outerwear. I've worked in swimwear. So I have a fairly well-rounded knowledge of fashion.
Yeah, and your education. Yeah, no, you did great. I love it. Love the answer. But I'm going to follow up, of course. But do you think, like, seeing that degree and that program is focused, very business centered, do you think that what I'm trying to say is gave you a stable freedom in creativity where you still have your own ideas? Because a lot of times people go into, like, I have an arts degree, I have a music degree. A lot of times you go in with the perception of artistic freedom or whatever, and then you have professors and people that take you and they're like, nope, can't do this, can't do that, can't do this. So do you think that maybe the fact that it was more business centered, it gave you more creative freedom?
That's a very interesting question that I probably haven't thought so much about. I think that it probably did, yes. I also know that it was very much the right choice for me and my interests. I have always been a creative type since I was very young, but I have also always had entrepreneurial skills. So I think that given my 2 skill sets, it was much smarter to go towards business, like you say, to get that foundation and to really build out those skills, because the creativity is more innate and something that I can call on. So yeah, I really enjoyed that question, actually, and I think I need to mull it over a little bit more to be able to answer it better. But yeah, I'm grateful for the path that I took, and I think that my creativity has not been stumped. That is for sure.
Yeah, and it is a tough question because as an artist, and that's what I'm considering you. Obviously you have the business background. You're in transit right now in your career. So you're constantly developing, constantly moving, constantly coming up with ideas, scrapping ideas. And, and actually one of the questions I had down here, it sort of leads to this is, the last time we talked, I asked you about a second collection. What's the inspiration for the second collection? And will there be additional items offered this time? What's the inspiration here?
Okay, so for the second collection, we are looking to take our designs to a little bit of a next level, to showcase something that we didn't showcase in the first collection, which is just more fashion centered elements. And sorry, I am specifically referring to women's collection with this. Men's is a little more status quo.
Thanks a lot.
Well, it's actually, I really enjoy designing menswear, but it's more natural developments with the menswear, whereas you can't just, throw whatever you want on it and try new silhouettes and ruching and all of the fun stuff. So yes, the women's collection actually has more fashion forward elements involved. So that would be things like underwire, ruching. But at the end of the day, we are going to continue with our kind of overall design ethos, which is just very timeless, simplistic silhouettes and just constantly that huge focus on superior fit and craftsmanship. So I do think that our first collection, what we saw with our first collection, what we designed, with it being these very foundational, simplistic, timeless pieces, and now what we're designing with our second collection, which is very much in development, by the way. We're at a great place with it, and we've already started sampling, and it looks amazing. So there is a very organic transition, even though we are going kind of more in a fashion direction with this one, but I think it will give more breadth in our assortment and potentially even just get the customer a little more excited, potentially bring in some new customers. So I think it's a great move for us.
Great. How many times a day do you go to the drawing board and modify or scrap an idea that you may have in the process? And now I know you don't count these things, but like, do you find yourself getting consumed with like an idea and then just like scrapping it and then just, or maybe pursuing it so much and then be like, all right, maybe this wasn't a good idea? I mean, how many times a day or a week do you like go through these motions?
Yes, when we're in the design process, I mean, you're so right. Like, I think what happens as a designer is the process is usually you do 100 quick sketches of potential styles, and then you narrow that down to a very small amount, and then you look at them again and you kind of say, are these even possible? Is this going to translate into a physical item and look good on the body as well? And so, yeah, there is this constant narrowing down of options. And then what we do is, because that first step of kind of just drawing the designs is very abstract and you don't necessarily know if it might translate, then you go into the technical process, which you start to kind of think a little more realistically. And as you're doing the technical designs and building out the tech pack, you kind of think to yourself, okay, is there even a way to construct this? And once you have now your new list of things that are maybe possible, then the next part of the process is, in our case, working with our factory to start creating the samples. So with the sample making, it's no longer abstract. Your factory is going to deem whether your design is even possible to make or not at that point. So yeah, we've had our fair share of having these amazing ideas and, trying to actually make them physically and it not necessarily working out and having to pivot. That is just the name of the game. I think especially with swimwear where the fabric is actually knit, so it's harder to work with. And so, it's a process.
And I never thought of that. You know what I mean? you
And
could
there's
have
so much
this
stuff.
great idea and say, this is what we want to do. And they'd be like, yeah, that's not possible. You know what I mean? Or it's possible, but this is an alteration that you need to make.
Mhm.
By the way, your little shout out work, your plug work. A good friend of mine, this is Barry the Great, nice guy. I've talked to him multiple times. A good friend of mine who owns Red Carter South Beach is many major retailers like Macy's and Victoria's Secret. I can link you with him if you think that could benefit you. And so if that sounds interesting, I could give you his number and you guys could talk, and that'd be a great thing.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Barry
So,
the Great. I love the name. Yes, it's always great to have a contact and you never know where it will go. So that's wonderful.
see, we need to have like a matchmaker graphic. Boom. Connections made, investor connections.
Parts everywhere.
Oh my gosh. All right. Instead of eHarmony, it's like e-investments, e-podcasting.
Perfect.
There it is. And we're matching you up with retailers. All right. Lisa Matthews has a comment and a question. Congratulations on the 4 seasons contract. Do you have any sales projections for this year?
Okay. We do have sales projections that were put together prior to launching. Those have been updated on our end, but I don't think they're necessarily public at this moment. So I think that the best way that I can answer this is reach out to us, Lisa, and Jordan and I can both, whoever you want to reach out to. But our CFO, Jordan Starkman, he's great at numbers. He's the best. So he can definitely speak on that a little bit further.
Right on. He's the numbers man. All right. Here's a question from Jonathan Davies. What is your end goal for LSEB and LBS? Are you expecting a major buyout in the future? How do you intend to get liquidity in your stock and interest?
Okay.
Would you be open to a buyout from a big,
It's one of those things where it may be a little bit too early to say. We don't necessarily have that as an exit strategy. But, that is part of business, and there's always room for opportunity in that realm. I wouldn't necessarily say where I stand with it is, this is my namesake brand and company, and I would always want to be a part of it and be able to have my touch on it. So if that was a possibility, it would have to be a perfect deal, but it's not necessarily something that's on our mind at this moment.
Yeah, I mean, when you're passionate about your brand and what you're doing, and because this is the thing, somebody gives you hey, here's $10 million, we're gonna buy your brand or whatever, yada yada, and then you see maybe a year down the road that they just trash your brand. And like, man, I wouldn't have done that, and now my name's all over it.
Yeah.
So it's like being protective over your,
Exactly.
your
Yes. And
passion.
yes. And luckily I am young and so committed to it. So as long as I'm around, I'm not going to let anybody trash the brand.
Right on. All right. I have a couple other questions that I wanted to ask you, and I just don't want to forget. And this is one question that I was thinking about it the other day, and this industry specifically, all you need is one big name, an influencer, an actor, a singer, to mention your brand. What are you doing to bridge that gap for this young company? You guys are literally young. I mean, this is fresh out the gate. I mean, this is just your first launch. I mean, what are you guys doing to bridge that gap?
Yeah. So, you are completely right. Partnering with a celebrity influencer, somebody of a big name in the industry, does have the ability to catapult a brand, especially in the fashion industry. That's something we're very aware of, and that is one of the main marketing strategies that we want to happen right now, and that we're chasing. So I do think that right now we actually have started doing a little bit of outreach, just dipping our toes in the water. We have a list of celebrities and or influencers that we are very interested in partnering with. So the reality is that we need more resources at the moment to have a big name like that. But once we do, I really don't think it will be difficult to find the right person and have a great partnership, because everything is in place. We have incredible branding, we have incredible product, and the marketing that we're already doing, all of it is of the highest standard. And even with the feelers that we've already put out, there is good feedback. So when the time is right and we have the correct resources, that will be our first plan of action. Meanwhile, what we're doing is actually, we are doing outreach consistently to talent that has smaller audiences. And we're looking to partner with them in different ways, lower budget ways. And so we also are now looking into working with, I don't know if anyone would be familiar with this, but there is affiliate marketing platforms that specifically create these partnerships, and just make it easier to connect with talent and streamline the entire process. So different platforms like Upfluence and Klarna. So we are actually actively looking into those as well to kind of help us get into that specific marketing strategy.
Good. And it's good marketing strategy, but you want to got to have a plan, and you got to be as specific as possible. It sounds like that's, you guys are getting your plan together, and we're going to see some execution. Samir Jain has a plan. Has a question about your long-term plan. Lauren, what is your long-term plan?
What is my long-term plan? Wow.
That's a loaded question.
I could go anywhere with this question.
I know, right?
It's very broad. My long-term plan, most definitely to become one of the notable luxury swimwear brands to exist, both in women's and men's luxury swimwear. And there's so many places I could go with this. I could start listing things. I'm not quite sure. Of course, as we just spoke about, I would love to have my product on the backs of incredible celebrities. I would love to have incredible partnerships with really well-known retailers. I think we're already on a great track with that. There's so many marketing things too. I think there's a huge opportunity in PR events. We have not done a PR event yet with the brand. That's something I would really like to work on for the within the next, I don't know what the time frame may look like, but let's just say,
be careful with timelines.
I know. I would like to do one as soon as possible. And all of these things take time. They take in so much planning. They take a lot of resources. So we do have a marketing strategy completely planned out, and we are ready to kind of roll forward on things. But again, it comes down to timing. It comes down to resources. And in terms of what my long-term plan is, it's just, I guess, to just shatter all of my goals and keep creating, and eventually definitely to enter other categories, as we talked about. And to become a household name within the luxury swimwear industry.
All right. That's a great answer. That was a good one. Samir, good question. Good question, brother. All right. Another question I got for you. You talk about your product. You talk about, we talked earlier about, maybe you aren't able to execute that plan or that product because of the materials, because of them maybe not being able to do it or execute it. Or they can, but why is your product superior to others?
Okay. So again, there's many things that are involved in the answer to this question. Our materials and trims in general are of exceptional quality, but specifically our women's fabric is quite different than anything that's on the market. That really sets us apart, because it really evokes confidence in the woman who wears it. It is very flexile. It has the ability to form to the figure, things like that. are they set us apart very, very much. But that does also, people need to try it on to experience that, or you can see it in our photos as well. And then, sorry, you asked what's superior. So, I mean, the other thing is just that our designs are very timeless. They aren't necessarily like things that are in the industry being offered right now. Not everything, but majority of what is in the market right now is low to mid-tier brands that are doing things that are trendy, that don't necessarily fit the body well. So we're really just trying to look at all aspects of swimwear. What can we do to make it the best possible? So again, that's design, that is fit, that is craftsmanship, and then it goes past just product as well. And it also, we have to take that same standard to marketing. We have to take that same standard to even just on the back end, our relationships that we have with our producers, with our suppliers. So there's so much that goes into making our product what it is. And only once you see and experience the product, I think, do you really realize the extent of all of that.
Good. 22. Really? Are your men's swimwear waterproof? I had to throw that up there. Shut up, 22.
Right. Well, the swimwear just doesn't keep doesn't keep the water off of you.
Paul McKinney, have you tried getting some kind of a deal with a major national water park, like Schlitterbahn, etc.?
Okay.
Schlitterbahn. I never heard of that, to be honest with you. I'm learning something here now.
I have not thought of that. I think there's a lot of industries that have a lot of promise. One of the industries we have talked a bit about with our network is doing medi spas, or even clinics where people go to have any work done to themselves, these higher end places. So there is a lot of opportunity. There's definitely industries I haven't thought of, including water parks. But if there is a high end clientele there, then that is always a possibility.
Cool. Lauren Bentley for kids. See it down on the water slide.
It could happen.
Yeah, right. Hey, you know what? Think big. You never know. Lisa Matthews, sounds like you are only designing swimwear. Are you also considering medium and larger women other than the skinny model types to design for? And is it a different process?
That's an incredible question, Lisa. So thank you.
Lisa's awesome, by the way. Big DD contributor in the Discord. I gotta say, she's awesome.
I'm going to break it down a little bit here. So at the moment, yes, we are only designing swimwear. With our second collection, we are doing our first cover-up piece, and past that, we would absolutely like to expand into a broader beachwear category. And past that, I would say collection 3, collection 4, we will definitely be looking at expanding even further into other categories such as daywear, such as accessories, and again, I feel like everything we're talking about kind of just goes to show that the options are endless. I mean, we can be in water parks with kids swimwear, right? So the options are endless, and we will continue to grow and enter different categories as time allows, as resources allow, etc. We are absolutely considering different body shapes and sizes. That is very important to me as exclusivity. And I hate to continue to be a broken record, but you have this in your question too, Lisa, is it a different process? It is a different process on many different levels. So it involves a lot of resources. That being said, it is something that myself and my team have taken into consideration throughout the entire process of designing everything we have thus far. So we do fit things on multiple body types throughout the entire sampling process. And then in terms of marketing after like when selling the goods. Again, that takes more resources because it's more models, it's more costly, it's more hours on the during the photo shoot. So these are all things that we absolutely do want to do when we place so much importance on it. And again, as we grow and have more resources, we will continue to implement, showing. We are already designing for multiple different body types, but actually showing the garments on different body types.
Excellent. Arlex, Viva la BFC. Shout out to Arlex. We actually just went and saw Les Miserables up at Shays in Buffalo, and it was great. And we had some chicken wings after. So, hey, shout out to Arlex. You get the shout out of the week, brother.
That's great. That sounds like a perfect.
It was an excellent
night.
show. Excellent show. I had a great time. Jonathan Davies has another question. Is your and this sort of goes along with Lisa Matthews' question. Is your intention just to stick to swimwear, or will it branch off to other facets of fashion to increase revenue streams, for example, yoga wear, etc.?
Yes, that. So, I mean, I will be transparent. Different categories that I would love to get into. I mean, the obvious ones are, broader beachwear, doing daywear, doing accessories. Personally, I have a huge interest in homeware, so what you wear in the home, pajamas, loungewear, etc. I also have a interest in fragrance, whether it be fragrance for the home or fragrance for the body. So just
interesting. Wait, that's interesting.
I'm not promising anything here, so nobody.
All right, that's cool.
I want to be open and transparent, and I guess this is the creative side of me that is speaking. But since we have so many questions around it, there are many categories that I'm very interested in, and I also think that they don't necessarily, the beauty of having LSEB Creative and Lauren Bentley Swimwear just being a brand within it is that we have room to have other brands that can have their own personas.
Good. We'll be wearing the cologne or the perfume. Lauren Bentley. Hey, that's a great idea.
Fragrances.
All right. I know we're winding up and you only have so much time left.
I know
but there are some great questions here. Let's see. All right, Samir. Lauren, can we get more regular updates on your brand on social media or luxury brand magazines so there is more your brand awareness about LSEB in luxury fashion space? And by the way, they do have a website, and if you actually go and register on the website, you will get regular letters. I know I just received one last week, so make sure you go on the website and register on. Actually, I don't even have the website pulled up.
Thank you.
Shame on me, but get on their website. Go ahead, plug that website right now, Lauren.
I'll tell you what it is. So for the company, we have lsebcreative.com. And then, of course, the brand is laurenbentleyswim.com. In terms of LSEB updates, yes, if you sign up on the website, we do newsletters. As of right now, they are not monthly. They are as we have updates. Obviously, it does become more and more regular as we continue on. And yeah, we just had a great one out last week. And also, I'm just reading the question, luxury brand magazines, more awareness. I'm not sure about the magazines, if he means from us. But what I will say is I would say actually maybe our most active space right now is Twitter. So if anyone here is not following LSEB Creative on Twitter, that is probably where we are most active and keeping everyone up to date.
Awesome. Very, very good answer. And we had actually a comment from Charlene. I am looking forward to purchasing one of your high quality and beautiful suits. I'm also invested in the company. So shout out to Charlene.
Thank you, Charlene. I love that.
All right. I got time for one more question. This one comes from, and I have a couple of bonus questions. But KAC Management LSEB question: How would she compare her brand to Rihanna line? If I'm saying that correctly, Rihanna line.
So Rihanna's Fenty line, I assume, is what we're referring to here. She does lingerie. I'm actually really not sure that she does swimwear. That being said, I want to be as completely respectful as possible. I think there's room for all brands. And I mean, of course, Rihanna, hers has been extremely successful because she's done a beautiful job because she knows her positioning, because it's Rihanna. And I'm just Lauren Bentley. But I think
You're not just
also,
Lauren Bentley. You are Lauren Bentley. That's it.
So I think her positioning is different than ours. I definitely would not say that it's luxury. I also know that we are very specific to create everything as high quality as we can, which really is in essence why we've partnered with manufacturers who are in Portugal, why all of our trims and materials are sourced within Europe. And I know with Fenty that they're not necessarily putting that same care and effort into where they're sourcing their goods. But yeah, beautiful product. And for their positioning, I know that it's doing extremely successfully.
Good. All right, one more. I joined late, so excuse my ignorance if it was already discussed. But how about boutiques on cruise lines, airports, or in Monaco, south of France, Bali?
Am I cutting in and out? Because you are a little bit. Are we okay? Okay.
Am I chopping out?
A little
bit. You know, the internet signal went off, and for some weird reason, our Wi-Fi it's the kids. I bet you they're on the tablets. They're on the tablets.
That's too funny.
We had a Wi-Fi issue actually a couple of weeks ago. It was a disaster, but it all worked out. So I'm all right. Yes, it looks like I have full signal. But yeah, this is a question about basically cruise lines, airports.
I love this question. We did kind of touch on all of the potential opportunities that are out there and how there's opportunities in industries and that, we don't even necessarily think of right off the bat, such as airports. Cruise lines, I think that would be incredible. Again, creating partnerships is really all about positioning. So as long as the 3 Ps are there, the place, the price, and the product are all aligned, then these things make sense. So I know that there's definitely cruise lines out there. Even Four Seasons has a cruise line, I believe. The Ritz does. So there's definitely opportunity there. Airports, I would like to think so. And absolutely, south of France is very much on my radar. Bali is also on our radar. There's a lot of conversations and a lot of outreach taking place right now. So,
right, and I have a long BFC community member that I accidentally skipped over your question, Thebes. Are you working to distribute to mostly the higher end stores?
Yes, most definitely. Yeah.
Okay. All right. See, you got your answer. I apologize, Thebes. I didn't want to forget you. Well, before you go, I do have a couple very brief questions in regards to share structure and stuff. And I know Jordan's the guy that he talks about this stuff, but I figured I have you here. I might as well ask. All right. Share structure. You and your team, how committed are you to maintaining this nice tight share structure? Do you want to make sure this remains intact?
Absolutely. We do have an incredibly tight share structure. We are very happy with that. And just very clear and concise. Yes, we are committed to making sure that it is as tightly held as possible. Also, again, Jordan Starkman, our CFO, Eric, I know that you've interviewed him. I know that have gotten to know him. For anyone who has not, Jordan is absolutely incredible at what he does. I think he has around 25 years of experience and knowledge under his belt. And with that, and he is just so committed to ensuring that just the overall health of the company, to maintaining shareholder confidence. And these are all interests that I share equally with him as well. So between the two of us, we would absolutely never partake in any deals that would harm the structure whatsoever. Absolutely no toxic financing. We will continue to be very specific about who we partner with whenever we are doing financing.
Are you still looking for private placements at this time?
We are actually, yes. So we are still looking to raise about 200 to 250 in an equity private placement. This would mainly go towards our marketing strategies. So I know there were a lot of times throughout this conversation that I mentioned, especially within marketing, once we have the resources. So we are already starting these conversations and feeling things out. But the reality is that by raising the money that we would like to, that would mainly go towards furthering the marketing strategies that we already have, starting new marketing strategies, including, getting an incredible celebrity on board, and then also completing the development and the production of our second swimwear line. Those would be kind of mainly where we would place that raise.
All right. My other question is, how much convertible debt total is on the books?
Okay, so none.
I just wanted to clear that up.
Yes, in case it's not clear. Yeah, there's absolutely no convertible debt on the books. Again, we are very committed to making sure that remains the case. So
awesome. Last question. Do you see profitability in 2024?
So we do not see profitability in 2024, but that is because we plan to funnel all of our profit into marketing strategies, to attract an ambassador, to really gain the brand recognition that we're looking for, the brand visibility. So that is our plan as of right now. I mean, I also think it's fair to maybe just reiterate a stat that we all know, which is that it usually takes 2 to 3 years for a business to become profitable, and that we do expect for the company.
Right on. Lauren, I want to thank you for coming on the show, sharing your passion, and just having a great conversation. You shared a lot of information with us, and I appreciate you. I'm a shareholder as well, and I'm very, very excited for you, and I can't wait to see this project grow.
You. Thank you so much. It's been a joy. It always is, Eric. And thank you to everybody who has joined in. Check out the Twitter, sign up for the newsletter. Also Instagram, make sure you support the brand. And honestly, thank you all so much for being here and all of your continued support.
Hey, 245 people watching. Not bad for a Sunday. Not bad.
I'm glad you told me that
now. Hey, I'll give the count at the end of the interview. No nerves here. You were awesome. Great job. We'll see you for an update in the next month or so. So, all right, Rob, get her out of here. Get her out of here.
Thank you.
Oh, my goodness. Man, tons of information. And I had like these private, because we have a private chat going on here, me and Rob. And apparently, and I noticed Chris Davenport is from ticker FLES is in the green room. And I have other stocks to talk about. And I was going to mention FLES. Rob, make sure he's good to go with his mic. I do want to talk a little bit about IGPK first. And then we'll bring in Chris Davenport of ticker FLES. And he could fill us in on whatever it is he's going to fill us in on. I'm pretty excited about this. Let's go to talk a little bit about IGPK. There's a lot to be excited. Are you pumped up or not for this week? Because I'm absolutely enthralled. I'm pumped up. I'm excited. I have taken my profits. I have retained my initial investment. And now we get to enjoy the journey, folks. This is when it gets real. We call this one a 0007. A lot of the BFC family is enjoying this. A lot of you have bought on the way up because there's so much due diligence behind this stock. It's freaking unbelievable. And this is probably one of my best trades I've made. And I'm excited. I'm excited for all of you guys. So just plan your trade your plan. It's going to be freaking awesome. It's going to be great. This is not financial advice. I can't predict the future, but I'm an excited shareholder right now. And I know many of you are. I know that chat rooms have been going crazy. We've had crazy speculation going on in the BFC Discord. I'm not going to share that speculation. It's good speculation. Lisa Matthews, man, you were on to something today. That's all I'm going to say. All weekend, you've been all over it. John Don, you might be on to something. But let's look at what all the excitement is about. I don't need to. We know what the share structure for those of us that have followed it. They're sitting at 4 billion outstanding shares, and normally that would be all right. That's a lot, But, when it comes to market valuation, it looks like if you bring in $1 billion company, 4 billion shares doesn't matter, if because that's going to have a substantial increase on the share price and the value of what the stock could be. But, you have all these people talking about it. Believe in yourself when no one else does. Like, these guys are just, people are just posting all over about Junfeng Wang. We're probably going to learn how to actually say that properly. Junfeng Wang, I think that's how you say it. But Stock Picks NYC has a killer thread of due diligence. Make sure you check him out on Twitter. Believe in yourself. He's all on that. Who else do we have? We got Long Bully Stick, my buddy, Long Bully Stick. He's been, follow him on Twitter. He's been breaking down these videos and getting the translations. Not the translations aren't perfect, but it gives you a general idea of what they're talking about. And it looks like there's a catalyst date of March 28th, and when they're going to have their celebration for launching. And I mean, this could go ballistic. I don't want to get too excited. I do think this thing's just starting. I think this could be one of the biggest stocks of 2024 and in recent history. But you know what? I'm going to stay grounded. I'm just going to keep watching the videos, keep submerging myself in due diligence. And this is what was sort of the excitement that was caused on the 15th, 2 days ago. On the Nevada site, they changed their name officially. And so hopefully we'll see that transfer over to the OTCmarkets.com, JFH, Digital E-Commerce Corp. Wang Dejun, he is the CEO of JFH, this multi-billion dollar revenue company. They're launching this big e-commerce platform. And that's what is so exciting about this, is that they're going to put a big dent in that industry. They probably want to compete with Alibaba, with Temu, with Amazon, all these guys. But if you look at it, they already, they have food chains, they have all kinds of stuff going on. It's really, really cool stuff. Get into the due diligence. I'm not going to cover it all here, but totally excited, and this thing could go off the chain. And I haven't seen anything like this in a very, very, very long time. Honestly, if you look at all of the, here it is, Long Bully Stick Nevada Business Portal, name changed to same company as in China. Yep, and we cross-reference that, and that's the truth. But this is, and I consider myself a young trader and investor. It's only been, I've only been at this about 3 years. All right. I have a long journey. I'm learning a lot. I'm not perfect, never will be. And I make mistakes, but this is the first thing I've witnessed. If you look at like 2021, when you had companies like CYBL, ILS, love those guys. You guys know how much I love those stocks, but they ran on hype. They weren't banging out revenues. Look how long it took them to get to the point where they're getting government contracts or, getting an acquisition that is worth $100 million. So this is actually a substantial merger. One of the biggest we could have seen. Guys, there's 277 people watching. Let's get 277 likes on this video. I love doing this. I want to keep doing it. Due diligence from the source. All right. We have some breaking news. Let's get to our breaking news. Mr. Chris Davenport, welcome back again to the BFC. What have you got for us?
Thank you. Hey, Lauren's amazing, and I appreciate the opportunity to for those that don't know who I am or my story, but thank you for inviting me in. Well, let's get right to it. So building on our balance sheet efforts, my efforts to clean up the balance sheet, I just got the signed docs in my inbox, madly getting the 8K ready, getting the PR ready. We'll announce tomorrow we removed another $461,000 off the balance sheet. So very happy.
Wow.
Progress. So it's very exciting. So,
dude, that's huge.
Yeah, it's a 2-year lockup, common stock, just like the other 3 gentlemen. So in the last 3 weeks, we've converted about $1.7 million in balance sheet debt into a common share structure. So it's very exciting. I think it's great for our investors, long-term vision for the company, the balance sheet, and so on. So that's my big update. Appreciate you letting me jump in here and on the coattails of Lauren and her community. So thank you.
Well, I got to follow up. I'm like, you obviously, I know that you've been hell bent on making sure that this gets done. You must have good negotiating skills. I mean, to get those to convert to common stock and to get them locked up for 2 years. So for you guys that are planning this as a short investment or medium term investment, this is excellent news for you. What else can you tell us about like going forward?
Yeah, well, obviously, Brett Rosen is a big priority for us. We're looking for that anchor investment so we can move the company and accelerate growth, accelerate sales. That's where we're at with the company. And for those who don't know what we do, we sell automotive parts online. We have an e-commerce website called liftkitsforless.com, and we have a marketplace, which is really unique, and that connects enterprise sellers to a parts buyer, whether that's a consumer or a business, or B2C and B2B on Auto Parts for Less, made up of the world's largest parts sellers. Most trusted parts sellers in the world. So we've spent a lot of money to develop that platform. It took years to get done, and now we want to just accelerate revenue, and that's where we're at today. So when I stepped in and took over leadership of the company in May of 2023, made it my two primary goals. One, to get the burn under control. Announced that last month our burn was way down to about within shouting distance of breaking even and possibly being profitable here in the very near future. So that's exciting. And two, the biggest hurdle for the company is the balance sheet. So removing the $7.5 million in convertible debt into a preferred share structure, and now along with another $1.7 million, things are looking very bright for our future in terms of attracting real capital, and then with the ultimate goal, getting to either the NASDAQ or New York Stock Exchange. So that's the short-term and long-term goals in front of us.
Wow. Oh, and you got a shout out from Lauren Bentley here, by the way. She goes, fabulous news, Chris. So there you go. Yeah. And, Alex has a question. And I was going to ask you this, now that I got you here. Chris, based off this, is the final note seller finished? Could you tell us anything at this point? Can you confirm anything?
Okay, so I got the whenever there's a conversion notice, the transfer agent sends me an email and says, this is the amount of shares they're requesting, and here's the balance. So that balance keeps going down and down and down. And the last email I got, the balance was 0. So that's obviously huge. That 180 grand we started this journey about 4 weeks ago. So I gave them a call on Friday afternoon saying, hey, were you able to clear all those shares? Are they gone? Or is there some left? He said, give him a call on Monday. And so, and he would get me that update. So I'm not going to I don't like to put out tweets during trading hours. So I'll have that tweet out at the end of the day if I, in fact, hear back from him. He's a character. He's a colorful guy. And so.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Sometimes we just want to hit him over the head.
Sometimes you get those relationships in the trading and investing world. And by the way, I got you here. How is it going with Lift Kits for Less? Now that you've turned that back on, do you think, are the numbers still coming in? I mean, how are we looking?
Yeah, it's look, that was a substantial business model for us with tons of SEO traffic, a huge, significant catalog size. We had 450,000 products that we were selling back in 21, and that platform did 16 million in gross sales. And after COVID and refunds, it really took a hit and it really set the company backwards. But today, we turned that back on. I think just a week and a half ago, we had around 16,000 total products. Today, we're sitting at almost, I think I just looked this morning, about 29,000 products are now live. So moving as quick and efficiently as possible to execute growing that catalog back. So we're a hybrid model. We're selling along with our marketplace where we have large enterprise sellers. So it's a 1-2 punch. I think that's a good way forward for us. Speed up revenue, speed up profitability. As best, obviously, that's my focus for the company and for our investors. Also, real quick, love to give a shout out to pixelworld.tv. That's pixelworld.tv. Check them out. They're out of the Minneapolis area. They invited me out to do a video presentation about myself, the company, our vision. It's really important for me to be as transparent as possible. I think that's a core value that I'm trying to bring to the table, so investors know what my goals are, know what my commitment level is, know what my sacrifices are. And that, I hope that video, as those videos start coming out, helps to tell the story in a very visual, impactful manner. So again, thank you, pixelworld.tv. Say that word really fast 5 times. Not easy. Pixelworld.
No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not the tongue twister. But thanks for jumping on and giving an update. You're always welcome to this. If we're doing our live, producer Rob, I mean, just get a hold of us and do what you did today. I mean, this is great. This is excellent. See,
You know,
surprises happen.
just sitting here listening to Lauren, and what an incredible woman, and love seeing women in the industry, and jumping into the the deep end of the pool with investors and being held accountable, and kudos to her. But got me thinking, about influencers and brand spokespeople, and I'm like, I should look into that. That's a really good idea. Anyway, so thanks, Lauren, for stimulating my brain. So it was great.
Right on, right on. Well, thanks for jumping on. And I have a couple other things. You know what? Hang out backstage. And Lauren, you're still backstage. Guys, hang out backstage. I'd love to talk to you after the show.
Any quick questions before you kick me out? Nothing pressing?
No, everybody's pretty cool. I mean, well, you've been updating us regularly, so this has been excellent. So
shout out to my daughter, Jenna Davenport. She was tuning in. She's a young entrepreneur herself. So I know she's driving to work right now. So love you, Jenna.
Hey, yeah, you know what? It runs in the family, I guess, right?
Yes, sir.
You're an inspiration, sir. All right, get this guy out of here. Hang out backstage. All right, there's not much more I want to talk about, but I do want to talk about two other tickers briefly, and I want to talk about NUMD. And there was some confusion about this one. All right, the whole thing about whether or not it was your space storage. All right, so real quick, NUMD. This is one I've called about a month ago. It was brought to my attention by Barry the Great. The float is like 20 million. All right. To OTCQB SEC reporting company. I like this is my first real estate play, so I'm excited about that. But yeah, there was some confusion, and I covered this in the video, and I was very specific. It is not Your Space Storage. It is Your Space America self-storage. So we got to look out for those little details when we do our due diligence. But that's what it is, and so I think this is great. I'm very excited about this, and I even told you the only convertible note that they have is that Your Space Incorporated. So that is very promising for me. I'm very excited about NUMD. I have 30,000 shares of it. I may buy more. We'll see where we're at. But I talked to the CEO. They're still working on that merger. So I'm waiting, and I'm excited because I think that we're nearing the end of it. So I'm just waiting to hear from the company. And the reason why I have some conviction here is because the price and returns by sector from 1994 to 2021 in the real estate world is self-storage. And, I just became a real estate agent about a year ago. And so I'm still getting, to learn more knowledge and learn more about the industry. And I didn't know the stat. So it makes me very confident investing in something like this. And so very, very excited. And so the other one I wanted to talk about was ILS. And so if you look at the ILS PR recently, now we've already had a whole interview. If you have not seen the interview with JP Backwell, it is loaded with information, real information. All right. I spent a lot of time, actually, believe it or not, guys, hours and hours and hours saying, what am I going to ask JP? What is going to bring real substance about the company? And so we focused a lot on SAML and everything that they have going on. It was a media interview, and there was a ton of information there. And so we're going to be catching up on QIND. We're going to be catching up down the road, and tons of information in that interview. If you haven't had a chance to watch it, make sure you watch it because there is, believe it or not, a lot of new information in there. But on February 20th, they talked about signing a letter of intent to acquire a British manufacturer of autonomous vehicles while completing its next phase of restructuring for anticipated growth. So I just wanted to just touch base on that because I think that I keep forgetting about this little tidbit of information. So I just wanted to play the clip from that interview just to sort of show you what he said about that. Could you talk to us a little bit more about the British manufacturer of autonomous vehicles and what it really brings to the emergency response market that you're serving more specifically?
Yeah, so it's a high technology company, but the good thing is we've been close to it for some time, and it's always the case with these high technology type companies, right? Where, they struggle often to get through that startup phase, and it's why we've been watching it closely. And we've not been in the position where we can take on a technology startup and try and get it through that phase of raising capital, that initial phase of raising capital to grow, right? So we feel now the time is right, and they feel from their side too. But the point is, the business has been around for some time now, and this technology has gained traction primarily in Europe, in Asia, and in the Middle East. Their vehicles are already used by military organizations, and they're a growing company. So I just got word actually today that they're very close to landing an $8 million order in Asia. They're already revenue generating and profitable, as I said, but they do need our support and also our international market experience to scale their production and to expand internationally. For example, to expand in the UK and expand in the US and some of the other international markets.
So let's not forget about that acquisition. They're known to do a lot of these LOIs. They sit and they watch, you see how they're progressing, especially when he said in regards to those high tech companies that, they go through those growing pains, especially early on, like most companies do. So keep your eye out for that. I think that is going to be pivotal for SAML specifically. But I'm very excited about ILIS, and you know what, call me biased, call me whatever. I really enjoy talking with JP. I love the stock. I'm a big fan of the stock. But you know what? It's been a long journey for us. All right. And we're just getting started. Back when I started covering this 2 years ago, I always said 3 to 5 year hold at least, because if you look at the first shareholder meeting that they had, Nick Link talked about saying, hey, we don't care about building something that lasts 3 to 4 or 5 years. We're thinking 10, 20, 30 years, generational wealth. All right. And JP said in that interview, these businesses are going to be there long after we're gone. And that's what they're going for. They're trying to build something very special. And, you talk to Chris, you talk to Lauren, you talk to all these CEOs that I'm having on the show. These processes are not easy. It's not like, oh, we're just going to get publicly traded, start a company, and boom, it's it. You're going to hit road bumps. That's going to happen. You're going to have to pivot. You're going to excel at in certain aspects. That's life. And so, it's good as traders and investors, we really ground ourselves, not just in trading the chart. I mean, hey, if you want to just trade the chart, that's cool. No shame to you whatsoever. That's good. Get your money, get in, get out. But I like to understand the people behind the ticker, understand what makes them tick. What's their plan? What's the timeline for the plan? What is it executable? Is it achievable? And I think with a lot of these companies that I've been covering, that is the case. You know what? In the last year was rough for a lot of people, not going to lie, and if you look in the terms of ILIS, a year and a couple months prior, Nick Link said it's going to be bad. It's not going to be great the next year. And he wasn't wrong. So you got to look at all the information, guys. You have to look at the PRs. You can't just look at one shareholder letter or one PR. You need to look at everything. You need to look at the share structure. You need to learn how to read filings, understanding about convertible debt, understanding restricted shares and its impact going to the outstanding share count. You need to understand where they are from a corporate structure as well. You need to understand the markets that they're serving. How big are the markets that they're serving? There are so many aspects to trading, especially when I love medium to long holds. I do like short-term investments from time to time. I'm not going to lie, I do. But in all actuality, you should really ground yourself and learn every freaking aspect of a company that you're going to sink your hard money into. Are you going to get burned from time to time? Yeah, it's going to happen. Are you going to succeed from time to time? Absolutely. And I'm going to use IGPK as an example. I looked at it from a cannabis and apparel side. I can't claim any due diligence that, hey, that IGPK, I called that and I knew this is what, I didn't know what was going to happen. Nobody saw this reverse merger coming for IGPK. I'm not complaining. So what you guys got to do is just ground yourself, ignore the noise. Ignore the mudslinging, ignore all the junk out there. And seriously, guys, enjoy your trades, enjoy your investments, learn about them, learn as much as you can. If you see me have a CEO on that you're invested in, get your ass here and ask a question, because that's what we're about. Totally transparent and totally live. And we're going to keep doing it, and we're not going to stop. BFC Nation, as Chris Davenport would say, that's it. I'm out. I'm having a great day. It's going to be a great freaking week. And remember, there's more that binds us than breaks us. Cheers, folks.